Hey guys. So this is just a reading for whoever feels called to it. It's timeless and it's whoever feels guided to this reading about what your soul wants you to know. So a lot of this has to do possibly with inner child stuff, more shadow work. Whether somebody needs to do shadow work or they've been doing shadow work, and this is what I mostly feel. They've been doing shadow work, whatever their version of shadow work is. And I think there's a message about that. Like if you've been doing shadow work. I will go more into it, and the cards kind of stated it's more of what I feel, but it's really about that a shift or a change is needed in how you're doing shadow work or whether you keep doing shadow work. So I'll just start with the cards. You're starting out, and I don't know if there's a particular order, but you have Root Girl, the disowned self. And this is a very heavy energy just in itself. And I don't mean heavy as in heavy, low vibrational. It kind of is. It's more like it's just a very significant energy. But so I'll show you your main cards. You have Root Girl, you have Fairies, Earth Magic. You have a lot of fairy energy here as well. So I don't know if any of you work with fairies or think about fairies or are always drawn to fairies. You have the Shadow as well. You have Ride the Wave, which if you notice, I don't know why you'll see it, but there's a dolphin, and on top of the dolphin, and it's probably not going to get that clear. There it is. There's a fairy on top of the dolphin again. And then you have Worthy at the end of it. And as one of the other ones, for me up top, the bottom of the deck things, you also have fairy magic up here. So whatever fairy magic is with you, or if you want to work with fairies, I do work with fairies often as well. Please know that if you do, a lot of times there's a give and a take to that. There's, make sure there's not something you have to give back to the fairies. Also, fairy energy to me, a lot of times, not always though, can be very childlike. And I think that's the main fairy part that's coming up in your reading is there's a very childlike energy. It's very playful. It can be jokesterish. It can teach you lessons. So it'll be yeah, I'll help you. But there's also riddles or catch-22s, or are you really going to see certain things, or yeah, you'll get the blessing, but on the way there you'll trip. There can be energies like that, just as an FYI. But I mostly get a lot of the energy here as that fun kind of childlike energy. And a lot of this is really coming about as I feel if some of you are not doing shadow work or even inner child work and have been wanting to, but don't really know how to begin. And yes, there's multiple ways to begin, but this might be just wherever you are right now, this is needed as a better way to do it. So if you are starting inner child work or shadow work, more importantly, and don't really know how to do it or begin, why this feels off, it's bothering me. Or you're doing it and you're doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it, and maybe even hit a plateau, just nothing's shifting, nothing's changing, you don't know what else to do. It's kind of more guiding me to say to just go have fun. You know what I mean? Maybe enjoy being a human again for a minute. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't try to push yourself so much. Don't judge yourself. go have fun and take the heat off of you, right? Because if you think about it, and this shadow card, I looked at the meaning real quick, kind of gave a good example of it, where it's like, let me read the sentence, it'll probably say it better than I could. We often think that the shadow can be purified, illuminated, and made right through effort and achievement. However, it is typically the case that often lofty pursuit of ascension and perfection is the very source of shadow materia itself. Like, why did the shadow even come to be? Was it that you were judging it? Did some part of you not feel good enough? Did some part of you not feel worthy? Did some part of you forget to play? You know what I mean? Like, it's sometimes it's, and I got stuck on this in the beginning too, where like I would just do shadow work. I did shadow work too long, too much into it, and realized that, I needed to stop and replenish myself, and I would do better by playing. I mean, if you look at children, most of the time how they learn and grow best is by having fun, feeling safe, feeling in control. And what was the other one? Having fun, feeling in control. I think, and feeling safe. Like you're much more likely to get your inner child, or any child to come around if they're curious and it's fun and it's playful and they're safe and they feel in control enough that they feel safe, basically. Especially a wounded child, which that's what these are, is wounded children, as far as your shadow self or your inner child. So in a lot of ways that children are more than likely in control or feeling safe and interested in learning is when they're having fun. Like, I think whoever this message is for, is it's time to kind of stop getting on yourself so much and doing it so seriously. And what's this, what's this wound? There's times for that. For sure there is. But sometimes you can heal way faster and figure those things out by having fun. Because trust me, when you step into the light, if you will, or you push yourself and expand out of your comfort zone, believe me, your blocks will be highlighted. They will come up. They can hide better doing shadow work most of the time than just going out. It's more like you have to go along the best pattern of it is if you know you have to work through something, then work through something. Give yourself a time period, do it, and once it starts to feel like it's too much, or you're kind of stagnating, you're not really growing anymore, you're not learning anymore, you're doing it just because you think it's the right thing to do, there isn't anything you're really working on, then go out and like have fun again, push out of your comfort zone, grow, expand, learn. Other stuff's going to come up. Other stuff's going to be highlighted. If you need to, if you could work through it and still do that, then do that. If you need to, stop for a second, go back, do the inner work, do the shadow work, reflect on it, sit with it, spend time with it. Let that pass through or sit until it starts to become, you're not having fun again. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not always fun, but you get what I'm saying. Or it starts to stagnate, you're not moving forward, and it's just not productive time anymore, is what I'm saying. Then you move to the other. You should spend more time, in my opinion. You should be spending, and this will change, don't be wrong, during certain phases, you might spend more time in shadow. But for the most part, you should be spending more time in growing, expanding, having fun, learning new things, coming out of your comfort zone, and letting those things bring your blocks up. Because they also help with rejuvenating, which is why a lot of you that this message is meant for is saying what this message is because those of you who have been doing a lot of shadow work or working a lot on yourselves, you might be coming to a point where you need to rest and rejuvenate yourself. And not only rest and rejuvenate yourself, but you need to be bringing some energy in, and also something that fires up well, the fire in your heart, basically. It gives you that gusto that you're going for. That is the passion. It is the incentive. Why can I not talk? The incentive, the curiosity, the push towards what you're working towards. You need to not only clear out and look, but you also need to bring in, because that, you're wanting to keep yourself fueled and going. Same with food, you know what I mean? Out and in, you get the idea. But you need to be rejuvenated, and rejuvenation does not always just look like, I mean, this might be it. You'll know, listen to yourself on this, but it doesn't always just look like resting or taking a bath, right? Like me time can be taking a bath. It could be taking care of your body. It could be taking a nap. It could be whatever. But me time could also look like exercising. It could also be like eating right. It could be getting a massage. It could be journal writing, auto writing. But it could also be getting roller skates and going roller skating. Like, I know that's been coming up for me a lot. I really need to do that. Roller skating. It could be like going to the beach. It could be going to playing air hockey. It could be going to an arcade, painting, drawing, playing a card game, playing hand games, whatever it is. It's really about sparking that inner child inside of you, because really that's kind of what we're supposed to do. Like, people as they grow up are not supposed to evolve and forget about their inner child. That's what keeps you going. And this kind of was like disowned, right? So as you're trying, it's kind of like a catch-22. As you're working on it to access this, you're coming at it from an adult-like standpoint, which is kind of what made this go anyways, because something wasn't, beneficial or productive when this was there, or like it got shamed or guilted, or it wasn't good enough, which might be why you have the worthy. Something valid but not true. It's an incorrect perception was cast upon you, usually by yourself, but it could be someone else. But it could be ancestral lineage too. Again, do this what you will. Take the main message here. Like, if you're trying to do shadow work, right? Again, this isn't a blanket statement, but for the most part, where you're at, if you're trying to do shadow work or inner child work, you can't always come so seriously, because that could also make it shut down more, or not feel safe enough, or you just not have the energy enough. Sometimes in order to do shadow work and have energies move and dislodge and come up and detox and be worked through, you have to have the energy to do it. It has to be safe for your body and your mind and your spirit to do it. So whether it doesn't feel safe to, whether you don't have the energy to, and you do have rejuvenation here, so some of you, it is a rejuvenation issue. You also have empty well, which these are more like just the things on the bottom of the cards that are just little things I like to put in case they guide me. You have empty well, time to replenish, right? It's about, so these ones are pretty significant. I have this, like, you have skywriting, the fates, many masks, the authentic self, skybridge, possibility for union, horseman, herald of change, stranger, curiosity, and you have empty well, time to replenish. So it's really like, wait, there goes there. It's really showing about an integration of this part with you and getting more with your authentic self. But it's like you are in the process of creating that. Also, you are going to be who you are. But mostly you are letting it be and creating, because it's both. To some degree, you create yourself. To some degree, you let yourself into this world. But by letting yourself into this world is how you can create yourself anyway, but to do it in a more authentic way, you let yourself into this world and then you create with that. And you kind of integrate and create a union with that in you. And in order to create that change, you have to have the curiosity and excitement, but you have to replenish in order to do that, is kind of what I'm getting for that. So, also, some of you may be guided to this message because if you haven't started doing this yet, it might be a better way for you personally, but also you may not be in a place. You might have gone through a lot of stuff or a lot of stress, or you don't know, or you just might be the type that if it's super serious or super boring, you're not going to be able to connect with that part of yourself, which, by the way, in order to connect to more of your authentic self, your inner child especially, but your intuitive and creative sides, intuition, in my opinion, is highly connected to play. Highly connected to play. So if you don't know how to play, if you don't know how to tap into that inner child and not take things so seriously and just play, like just be curious, just explore, you're going to have a hard time connecting to yourself. You're going to have a hard time connecting to your intuition. You're going to have a hard time listening to yourself, and you're going to have a hard time healing and growing and expanding and all that other, stuff. So you need to be able to connect with yourself and be able to play. There was something I just thought I was going to say. Oh, and also know that when you start to play like that, don't just think about a child, right? When they're playing, most of the time it's fun, but sometimes stuff happens. They don't stop playing, well, unless something like this happens. And then, you get too serious on yourself and your inner child goes. But for the most part, children keep playing. They're like, oop, ouch, and they move on and they keep playing. So yeah, stuff's going to happen. Stuff's going to come up. You might make a mistake. You might not like how things go. And it's just a time for you to reassess as hopefully an adult or a younger adult that just doesn't take things so seriously in the way they did. And you could reassess, reanalyze, see what you want, see what you don't, and move on. Because you have more of your logical mind. Kids are more like pure emotion and energy. Their cognitive development is not fully there yet. So you can now think from a different standpoint now. But as of right now, you're kind of just sitting there all guarded and you're, all by yourself. And you really need to work on and make a commitment to connecting to that part of yourself. And you have a choice here, basically, on making the choice to do this and to play. Check out unseen parts of yourself. Let things come up that need to come up. Work through them. Work over them. Like I said, step back. Work on it until it's not productive anymore, until you're not moving, until you start to become depressed, which it's hard to say because it's like when you do that stuff, sometimes you're going to feel depressed. You're going to feel the uncomfortable feeling of it. You're doing the shadow work of it. But basically, I mean to where you're not like moving. You've just been there so long. The energy is stagnant. It's stuck. It's not like an excited, anxious that you're working through something. It's an anxious because something's trying to push you somewhere because you're not doing anything. You're just stuck. There's no productive action going on, even if it's uncomfortable. That's when you need to move and do something else. And you might even feel like you're going crazy during parts of it. You might be like, is the right thing? But basically more by you having fun more often and not being so serious on yourself, you have a better chance of healing and integrating those energies because you don't want to be too serious on that part of yourself. That's one of the biggest reasons why it went into hiding, why it went into your shadow, why it went into dormancy, is because there was some very harsh thought process with more than likely you, but some people it could have been, handed down through your lineage, but even then it still manifests in this world. So you're still going to have had it too. That kind of hit against you, like that was just very harsh and very judgmental and didn't like it and just felt basically not worthy. I mean, worthy's coming up, but not good enough, not worthy. Just like there's always something about you that's wrong, or there's always something about you that has to be fixed. Yes, if there's things you don't like, work on them, but do it because you're excited about where you want to go, not out of a place of lack. You know what I mean? Like, you do it through play and curiosity, and because I want to get here, and this is coming up, and I'm going to work through it, and like, I'm going this way, and you're like excited about it. Again, I want to stress, it's not always comfortable. I'm not saying it is. But it's going to be way more uncomfortable and you are less likely to finish it or come out of it on the other side or, get the full benefits of it, and honestly, probably cause yourself even more trauma and harm if you get stuck there. You know what I mean? Or you don't even know where to go in the first place because it might be boring for you. Some people don't know how to tap into that stuff. I take that for granted when I say that to people, and I'm like, do this and this and this. And because for me, it's pretty easy. I'm pretty intuitive with the stuff I do. I'm pretty connected into all that. And, there's a lot of people who don't know. They don't know what to do. So I am trying to work on ways of developing things to help people through that and learn how to do that and teach that. But what I can say in the meantime is play and be curious. Like, that's one of the I love playing. Like, I know it sounds weird, but playing with people in the way of other people that do the stuff I do. Like, even just, exploring and figuring out what you can do and just having fun and seeing what happens, like, to some degree after a while, depending on how much you go with energy, you do have to be careful and learn like discernment with certain things. But for the most part, hey, you learn from those moments like you do a kid. I've had, trust me, like many a times that would freak so many people out. It freaked me out that, I've experienced from all this, and I made it through. You know what I mean? I made it through. I figured it out. I'm stronger now because of it. I didn't run from it. I didn't stop. Sometimes I took breaks. But nonetheless, I'm more prepared. I'm better at what I do because of it. If I were to help people or teach certain things or have classes, I have more knowledge now because of certain things that happened and how to guide through people through it if it happens to them. So don't get me wrong. You gotta take breaks for a minute because I needed to rejuvenate myself and reground myself. But you just have fun. Like, it's not only is it affecting your perspective, but you have a chance where something is developing in you and there's an unfolding of yourself that's happening. And your perspective can sway either way. And as long as you're doing the shadow work, do it in a way that's productive for you and don't stay there too long. Like, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing if I'm not doing shadow work. Or I'm not doing the spiritual journey right if I'm not doing something energy, or I'm not a guru. Or if you want to, cool, do it. If you don't, if this job excites you, go do it. There's no one that says, like, there's no thing that's like, oh, you're spiritually awakened and you can't be a human, No, be a human. Like, because trust me, you are going to be miserable if you don't incorporate being a human into this. So make sure you're balancing this stuff, find what works for you. If it's doing a 9-to-5 corporate, do that. If it's doing just energy stuff, do that. If it's doing a mixture of both, do that. You can write your order to what you want. You can adjust it. You can create this. Like the whole writing your story, the fates going on here, like they're listening, skywriting, the fates, like who do you want to be? Who are you drawing into this? But just have fun while you're doing it. I'll give you a little example. When I stepped away recently, I went back to being a human. I was like, all right, I just want to be a human for a minute. I need to reground myself. And I did the stuff I wanted to do. I got back into horses and I started just doing more things that I wanted to do. And then that got me pumped and inspired. And I'm like, all right, I want to get this, and this. I need to have money to do this. So I went back, tried to do what I did before, corporate America, made like really good money, like the best money I've ever made. And man, like I was miserable. Absolutely miserable. And I was like, I still want to work. Like, I still want to do stuff, whether I'm doing it for myself or even someone else. But I'm like, I have to enjoy this. Like, I have to enjoy it. Like, this shouldn't be like this. For one, I don't want to do something that I hate every day and that I'm just anxious every day. For two, I don't want to work 5 days a week and only have 2 days off. And I don't want to have to recuperate my energy those 2 days because the whole week just got me and I was spent. And then by the time I even start to get some energy to be able to do some stuff, I'm back to work again. Losing all that energy I just built up. And I was like, this is not what I'm here for. It has to be better than this. And so I made the decision to leave that job. And luckily, right after I made that decision, or actually right before I decided to leave it, so I kind of like went into it, I found another job because I was like, I'd rather work part-time, you know, while I'm like building this and playing with this and the channel and stuff. Like, I'd rather work part-time. Like, I didn't want to work more than 2-3 days a week max. And I mean work meaning somewhere at a job, like not what I'm doing, not my own stuff. I didn't want to work more than 3 days, preferably 2. So I, did take a pay cut because not only was it a little bit less than I was making otherwise, but I'm only working part-time. So it'll give me a little bit of money to carry me over to kind of like figure out with the abundance of whatever I'm building. But more importantly, as of right now, I found a job that they're really flexible. I have way more time to myself and do what I want to do. They are way more valuable of what I offer them and grateful for it. I don't get PTO or like paid holidays, which they offer, but because I'm part-time, I don't get it. So I don't get those benefits. But I want to build a world for myself where that doesn't matter. What I have is built so much that I don't need those things. But as of right now, like, I love the job, like, so I'm doing nursing, so I'm able to use my nursing license for that, not for this. And I work like with kids that have like special needs, but like as a daycare setting. So it's like a special needs daycare. And I don't know, like, I never even worked with kids before. I was never even big into kids, especially not like ones with special needs. And I just love it. Like, I love what it fuels my heart. Like, there's so many times I look at those kids and I just want to start crying. And not because I'm sad for them, but because just the love you have while looking at them just blows up your heart. You know what I mean? In a good way. Not like, crazy, but and so I love that. Like, I wanted something that if I was going to be doing a job, I wanted it to be something that my heart was in. I wanted it to be something that also gave back to me. And so I found that, that's what I was like, all right, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. This is what I want to be doing while I'm transitioning to this, and my bigger plans that I have, I'm putting together even beyond all this. And it's like it lined up, like right when I decided that, where it's like, and I don't know if I'll stay there. It might be like a stepping place, but as of right now, like, I like the people pretty much. I mean, a lot of them are asleep, but that doesn't matter. That's my human side. And so, and I get my other stuff out through like this, and the stuff I'm doing, and the stuff I'm doing in person, and the stuff I'm doing through the channel. I just found a nice balance with it, is my point. Like, I found out, what did I want? What did I need? What did I like? What didn't I like? Put that out there that I wanted it, and that's what I've put together, and it seems a really nice balance so far. Like, I really like what it's doing for me, because there's a time for responsibility and there's a time for play. And honestly, I'd like to have a little bit more play, or have it to where like the responsibility is to get to my play, and not in a way of like I have to work 5 days a week to be able to have whatever. Like, to me, that felt like a trap. Just as a side note, it was like, we'll offer you this, 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 and this, which was great, but you're going to be really unhappy. Your life's going to suck. You're going to have any time to yourself, and you're probably going to develop a health condition. So, yay. I'm like, no, you can keep it. Thank you. I don't want it. Someone else. It'll be a better job for someone else. It's not for me. And I had to decide what I wanted. But either way, I want to have more heart in my life. I wanted to have more fun in my life. And just light my heart on fire. You know what I mean? So however this looks for you, I'm going to go back to this instead of my life. But it will help you too through the times when like these waves are coming in, whether they're emotional or there's things going on or blah, 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 blah. You might even want to call in, if you guys know how to work with spirit animals, when stuff's going on, call in the energy, the spirit animal allies of dolphins to help you through riding those waves, just as a thought. But either way, like, you know, the little fairies up on the dolphin, right? Here's your inner child playing. Like, these things don't have to be so crazy when they come to you. Yes, life is already crazy enough. But you adding to it with your thoughts of not being a good enough or being so hard on yourself, or we need to inner work, and no play, you're making life harder. And you're making it to where when those times that are out of your control or that are hard for you, you can't just ride them like this. Because you don't know how to play anymore. You don't know how to access that, let alone you don't even have the energy to. You just flop around in this wave and drown. Right? Like, it's about playing. It's about also having the perspective of when these things come, learn to play with them if you can. Learn to use them to your advantage. Learn to transmute them into your ally. Can you do that with everything? No, not everything. Probably most things. You could at least find the silver lining in them. But honestly, a lot of things, yeah, you can. Like, how many of your difficulties are because of how you're approaching them, or how you're thinking of them, or how you're just because you're judging yourself and being too hard on yourself, and it's not necessary. It's not necessary. You know, you are good enough. You do have what you need. You can play. You can be curious. You can tap into those parts of yourself. This makes me want to play. Just doing this reading is like, but it does, you know, like it's, just stop being so serious. Stop being so hard on yourself, which is really hard for me to say. I probably sound like a hypocrite saying all this because sometimes I'm like, do. But it does. A balance is needed. And I'm very much one of those. I understand this completely. Trust me, I did this like too much so to where I ran myself ragged doing shadow work. And I was like, that was a hard lesson for me to learn. And once I got it, though, I got it. And I was like, all right, cool. As right around the time about, I actually took a break because I was just like, I really just want to go focus on going and having fun. I don't want to do any spiritual stuff right now. No spiritual work. I don't even want to talk about it. What did I want to do when I was a kid? What do I want to go get into? I don't want to deal with anything serious. And then, you know, I got to the point too where I wanted to do some serious because I had to in order to get the stuff I wanted. So, you know, it was like finding and tweaking that balance within yourself of, you know, letting your child self push you and see the world through child's eyes of excitement, but yet knowing how to function yourself in an adult way to like take action and make it happen, and knowing all the worldly things to play this game that we call life. You know what I mean? It really is truly a game. So for those of you that are trying to play it right now and you're doing it in a way that's very serious, and you're being really hard on yourself and judging yourself a lot, your lesson and your message from your soul is to stop. Take it easy on yourself. You're probably exactly where you need to be. Just give yourself a break, okay? Like, don't be so hard on yourself. It's not that serious. Yes, you can do shadow work by digging into that and being like, what's all this and this, and being on all the dark and whatever. But you can very easily just as much do shadow work by coming out of that and going and having fun and exploring and being curious and expanding and trying new things. Because trust me, it's going to bring those sides of you up. Like I said earlier, it is so much easier actually to see those things when you do that, because it's almost like you're shining. Like if you want to equate it to love, it's almost like so much light is shining in it like illuminates your shadow. Like it cannot hide, right? Just like that whole thing of the closer an object is to the sun, the greater the shadow or something. The farther it is from the sun, the smaller the shadow. So trust me, like as you do this and you go into those lighter, more playful energies, your shadow is going to be illuminated. You are going to see it. Any any blocks, challenges, or difficulties you have, illuminated. You will see them. And sometimes you can keep playing and doing it and push through it. And sometimes you can't. It discombobulates you so much that you need to step away for a minute, go do your thing and work through it. Do it until the point that it's not productive, you're not moving in anywhere, and it's just getting worse and you feel like you're causing yourself more damage. Then come back out and move forward again. You know, it's a back and forth, it's a cycle type thing, as above, so below. Okay? So as you do this, because I'm going to show you this too, because I feel like this is pretty pertinent. These energies on the bottom of this deck, because you have fairy magic. I kind of listed them like this just so I can see. So you have fairy magic, rejuvenation, vibrational, and manifest. As you work with this energy more, and like I said, for you guys, if you're drawn to fairy magic, then learn how to work with fairies. If you need help, let me know, because for the most part it's wonderful. A little tricky, but some of it is trial and error. So they are like kids. They are tricky little buggers, but they're great too. So but as you work more with this energy, and for you guys, I'm getting more that it's a childlike energy, because most of them are very childlike and grounding too. But come back to earth, come back to being a human, come back, have some fun. It is fun being a human too. It's not fun just being spiritual, and it's not fun just being human. It is fun, more fun, integrating the two together, so that you have all aspects of that to work for you. You have the child pushing you, you have your adult self pushing you, you have your spiritual self pushing you. Not pushing you, but like all working for you. All those tools you have access to, which makes a greater, better whole, if you will. But anyways, this magic, child self working with that will rejuvenate you. Rejuvenation, it will rejuvenate you. You'll have the energy to do it, which will raise your vibration, which guess what happens when you raise your vibration? You are able to quickly manifest things, right? The higher your vibration, the quicker you manifest. Whatever it is you're trying to work for, whatever it is you're trying to do, which, by the way, that also happens with accessing your highest self. That also helps with accessing and talking to your guides and hearing your intuition. Because I know there's sometimes, like, if I've been eating like crap or a bunch of like lower vibrational foods, or foods that I know my body just doesn't like, and it makes me kind of wonky inside, like, ugh, it discombobulates me basically. I have a hard time tapping in and connecting to my guides and tapping into my higher self, whatever. And I sometimes have to wait it out or find other ways to like clear my energy out. Because it's just hard. I mean, stuff always starts with food. Like, give yourself a break, even with food. Every now and then, you just need to do it, you know, and just do what you need to do and be a human, unless it's like really detrimental. But otherwise, besides that, you know, you with food too. You take care of yourself. Find ways to make it fun, though, if you can. But another way to raise your vibration is to have fun and play. Light that fire in your heart. And let you come to be. Don't judge it. Just play. Whatever that looks like, who cares? Just do it. As long as it's safe for you and it's safe for other people. If you make a mistake, you just learn from it. But it will rejuvenate you. It will raise your vibration. And then you'll be able to access more things. You'll be able to access your highest self. You'll be able to access your guides. You'll be able to listen to your intuition. You'll be able to manifest more into your life. It just all around gets better. So that's your message. Okay. Stop being so hard on yourself. Have fun. Like, just have fun. What did you like to do when you were a kid? And if you don't know, that's fine. Go do things that are taking a chance and just trying something. The worst that can happen is you don't like it and you move on and try something else. Sometimes too, like if we want to speak of like soul retrievals, like say there's a part of like a soul essence that left during some part when you were younger, and it could be in any lifetime. It could be in this lifetime or another lifetime. Sometimes they'll come back just to help you because they also want to do something they weren't able to complete in another lifetime, or sometimes your guides have been working with them and they're in the right place to come back to you at that time. But sometimes they'll also come back because somebody has really been working on stuff and they feel that it is now safe for them to come back because you're now working at it and they feel more like protected and safe. Like it's a better option for them. They're like, they're not coming back to like something that has a high likelihood of something happening like when they were younger, blah, blah, blah. You get it. So maybe even from trying and doing that work, like say if there's a party that's having a hard time connecting to your inner child or doing the shadow work, sometimes soul essences just come back, or you might be able to tap into your highest self and that highest self can bring that soul essence back. You might be guided to me. Like there's a lot of people who are guided to me. I'm a shaman. I also do soul retrievals. So if you feel guided to on that, you can feel guided to come to me and have me do a soul retrieval. There are many ways to do it. There's not just one. I know my highest self, I've had some people do soul retrievals on me. So my highest self has brought a couple back to me. I am for sure when I had my awakening, a good amount of them came back and just kind of slammed me on some stuff. But, so if you're interested in that, if you feel guided about the soul retrieval or like illuminations or any of that, and it explains more, the information is in my description box below, by the way. I have more stuff coming out, but I at least put some of the minimal stuff up and I'll change it. But I wanted to at least have those up there about my readings and my shamanic services. I'll be putting my CCT stuff back up there. I may start a couple other new things. But either way, if you're interested in that, the information's in the description box below. And not only does it say the price, and so there's singles and combos, but it also says kind of a brief description. It's more than that, but it's a brief description of what those shamanic services are and what they do. Because there is a little bit here about soul retrieval part of it, but most of it is just what you're doing if some of you are doing this work. So, love yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. You're amazing. Let yourself be fun. Let yourself be curious. And it doesn't have to be like fun from somebody else's standpoint. I mean, like I constantly am like, I'm crazy, for most people, like they have no idea what I'm talking about. And I know I look crazy. I look like whatever. Some of them look like they're crazy. Some of them look like they're amazed, but have no idea what I'm talking about and blah, 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 blah. And like, I can't worry about that because honestly, I have fun doing what I do. I love who I am. I love that I'm unique. I love riding out with all my special magic that is me, still learning more of it. And honestly, because I do that, I attract the people to me who also are like me, and that I'm not so weird, even though I don't mind being weird. I'd rather be different nowadays. Like, I don't want to be like everybody else. Especially not like most people in this world. No harshness intended, much love there, but I just don't. So I'd rather like just keep exploring me and expressing me. But like I said, it attracts the people to you that are like you, instead of like not being yourself and now you're surrounded by people who don't really get you and then you have to hide yourself more and it's just a whole cycle of crap. So yeah, no. But this is your guys' message. That's your message from your soul. Let me check something. Yeah. So that's your messages that your soul, higher self, whatever it is, wants you to know. Okay? Please like, share, comment, and subscribe if this has helped you. That's a way to get back to me is by liking the video, commenting on the video, sharing the video, especially since it helps me like outside the algorithm. Subscribe, make sure you hit the bell so you get notified of all my videos. I'll be doing like a bunch of different types of stuff. You'll be notified as my stuff goes out about like Patreon or anything else I do, because I do want to develop that for the other stuff that I do where people really want to work a lot and go into this and go at a deeper level with everything and then just get the extra content. Information about my services in the description box below. I think the only thing I have right now is about my readings and my shamanic services, so I will have others coming out soon. Some I'll be putting back on. If you're interested in donations, because people ask about that, the information's in the description box below. And I think that's it. I hope this has helped you guys. I love you, and I'll be seeing and talking to you soon. Bye.